Thank you for joining me on Project Statistics YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about independent sample t-tests in SPSS. And this is the part 3 of this video. I encourage you to watch the part 1 and part 2. Today we're going to talk about comparison of customer satisfaction by gender. The research question: do men and female customers differ in satisfaction score after using a product? So this is a research of a company that want to determine whether there is a significant difference in customer satisfaction between male and female users after experiencing a particular product. A sample of male and female customers were selected after they had used a product, and each participant were asked to rate their level of satisfaction on a standardized scale. In this video, we are going to talk about the average satisfaction score and how to understand the research problems. We also talk about develop a questionnaire. And when you have discovered your research objective, your research problem, and how do you start? You start by developing a questionnaire, converting the responses into data, and do construct your null hypothesis. We're also going to talk about how to label your group variable, and finally we'll talk about independent sample t-test. And importantly, we are also going to look at when and why independent sample t-test is used in this experiment, because you need to understand how to select the appropriate statistical tool or statistical test to run your analysis based on the kind of data you have. We're also going to talk about data preparation in SPSS. How do you input your data? I'm going to teach you how to put your data into SPSS before you run your independent sample t-test, interpret your results, and make appropriate conclusion. So in this research, our research objective is to compare the average satisfaction score for both male and female group to uncover whether gender play a role in how customer perceive and evaluate the product. And at the end of this research, we'll be able to get an insight that will help the organization to tailor their services or marketing strategies to meet the expectation of different customer segments. So here we're going to start by developing a questionnaire to be able to answer some of the questions we have. And one of them here, the first question I have is, how satisfied are you with our product on a scale of 1 to 100? You have to ask your questions based on the problem you want to the problem you want to solve in the research. What is your gender? Number 2, we have male and female. So here, this is our questionnaire, and you share this questionnaire among the participants of the research, and then you collect the data, and then you prepare the data in a tabular form as shown here. This is our data. Here we use male for 1 and 2 for female, and this is the corresponding satisfaction score for each of them. So now, having known the objective of the research to compare the average satisfaction score of both male and female group to uncover whether gender play a role on how customers perceive and evaluate the product. Now, how do you state your null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is always stated in a way that it will contradict your claim or contradict your objective. So here we're going to say that there is no significant difference in the average satisfaction score between the male and the female. You need to know how to state your null hypothesis, because your null hypothesis is what you are going to research on to know whether you accept or you reject the null hypothesis. There is no significant difference in the average satisfaction score between the male and the female. And the variables involved, we're going to define, we have gender and we have score in the variable view. I've already told you that the gender has two factors. The male, we use 1 to represent the male and 2 to represent the female. Now, first of all, before you choose the appropriate test for this research, why do we decide to use independent sample t-test? First of all, let me define what it means. Independent sample t-test is used to test whether the mean of two groups differ on a continuous dependent variable. It can be deployed when you are comparing a categorical variable that has only two groups with a continuous dependent variable. When you are comparing a categorical variable that has two groups against a continuous variable. Now, look at it. We have a gender. In this experiment, we have gender that has two groups, male and female. And we have a continuous dependent variable, which is the satisfaction score. So this design here fits our research variable. That is why independent sample t-test is suited for this particular analysis. When you have one categorical variable that has two groups and a continuous variable, then when we do such comparison, then we have to use independent sample t-test. So I really want you to understand how to uh, choose the appropriate statistical test for your analysis. If you are, if you have more than one, if you have more than two independent, more than two groups here, that means you cannot use independent t-test if the group is more than two. So you have to deploy another statistical test, and that is um, ANOVA. So we're going to do that in another video. So in independent sample t-test, you have a categorical, you need a categorical variable that has two groups only and a continuous variable. And what it does for you, it compares two groups across a continuous variable to see if their mean score differ. So I'm going to take you to SPSS right now. Now I'm in SPSS. As you can see, I have my variable view. I'm going to put gender and gender and score. Gender and score. I can see that my gender, in I go to value and put 1 for male, add, and 2 for female. Then this is going to be an nominal, and this is a scale, and that is it. So we come to data view. We have this. Then I'm going to Excel to get the data. So this is my gender. Copy the gender row. And I copy the score. Okay, so this is my gender and score. So here, the next thing is for me to run the analysis. I'm going to do independent sample t-test. To do that, I will go to analyze, compare mean, and I'll see independent t-test. So I'm going to take my gender into the group variable, but the gender is group down. One, I use 1 and 2 for female, 1 for male, and I run my click OK. So as you can see, this is my result. I have two tables here, the group statistics table and the independent sample t-test. Now, starting from the group statistics, I can see that I have 10 male and 10 female, and the average score for the male is 72, and average score, satisfaction score for the female is 83. So 72 and 83, that means the satisfaction score for the female is higher than the one of the male. And for that reason, you can say that the female customers are more satisfied than the male customers. And now let me check if there is any significant difference. Since my null hypothesis state that there is no significant difference in the average satisfaction score between the male and the female. So looking at my p-value, I can see that my p-value here is 0.013. 0.013. Now, this 0.013 is greater than or is less than 0.05. This is less than 0.05. This is 0.013. So it is less than 0.05. That means we are going to reject the null hypothesis. We are going to reject the null hypothesis, which means that there is a significant difference between the satisfaction score between the male and the female. So if we decide to use our t-statistics to also check here, you can say that we are also going to reject this number here. This number is above 1.96. So we are also, this is also lying in the rejection zone. It's lying in at the rejection zone. So we are going to reject the null hypothesis that there is no significant difference between the satisfaction score of the male and that of the female. So we can conclude that there is a significant difference between the satisfaction score of the male and the female. And we can go further to say that the female customers are more likely or are more satisfied than the male customers. The female customers are more satisfied than the male customers. So kindly like this video, share and subscribe to our channel. If you want to learn more about data analysis with SPSS, I encourage you to go to Amazon and obtain our book, Teach Yourself Data Analysis with SPSS.